This is our last video about Galileo. He has two key contributions to our story, to physics and to astronomy. Let's look at physics first. Galileo loved to study motion and found clever ways to slow things down. He developed the pendulum formula and used that to help him develop the free fall formula. One of Galileo's key insights was that vertical and horizontal motion were two separate types of motion. He was also the first to recognize that people don't notice motion, just acceleration and deceleration. For astronomy, Galileo's key contributions were his writings about his telescope observations. He wrote about the new stars that can only be seen with a telescope, mountains he found on the moon as well as their heights, the four objects orbiting Jupiter and the details of their orbits, the sun's sunspots and its rotation, and the phases of Venus. It was Galileo's telescope that convinced him that Copernicus's theory of the sun at the center of the universe must be true. It was the only way to explain Venus's phases, which were similar to the moon's. The more he looked through his telescope, the more he realized that Copernicus was right. He started to argue in favor of Copernicus in his books. While these writings got him into trouble, that part of the story is beyond the scope of this course. In any case, it was Galileo's understanding of the physics of motion that allowed him to counter one of the key reasons people didn't believe Copernicus's theory. We don't feel the Earth move. We covered this in the video lesson on mixed motion. According to Galileo, that concept applied to everyone and everything on Earth. We don't feel movement, just changes to speed. We feel acceleration and deceleration, but not the movement itself. Kepler, who we talked about in the previous module, actually traded letters with Galileo. They read each other's books. But they both suffered from one problem. Both of them still clung to the big idea that there were separate rules for heaven and earth. Kepler studied the motion of the heavens. Galileo studied motion on Earth. In the next module, we'll turn our attention to one more scientist. He'll notice that Kepler and Galileo were studying two sides of the same motion coin, and he will rename it universal. It's time to turn our attention to Newton.